Let's talk about England 0, Italy 0. 3 games, no goals from open play for England. I was at Wolves on Saturday for the game. I don't think it was that bad. The game against Hungary was pretty terrible. The game against Germany, I thought an away draw was a good result, and I thought there were parts of the performance that were quite good. And I actually thought we created enough chances to win the game on Saturday, but Mason Mount hit the bar when he should have scored. Raheem Sterling's missed an absolute sitter from about 3 yards. I would fancy myself to put it away. I don't quite know what he's doing there. And he knew he should have scored it as well.
Would you have done it one touch?
Yeah, probably. Well, no, it was like he trying to spooned it over the bar with both feet. But some part of my body somewhere would have been able to put that in, I'm sure. And also, Tammy had a good chance early on, but maybe it was too early on for him. He didn't take it at all. He got physically, he got kind of nudged out of it a little bit, that chance. So, in tune with the game a little bit more, and his opponent with a bit more physical contact, he might have done better with that chance. But I thought it was a better performance on Saturday. And yet I get in my car and I'm driving home and I'm listening to Adam Cattrall and Carlton Palmer, who was excellent, on the phone in afterwards on talkSPORT.
Good lad, Carlton.
Yeah, but the callers were saying Gareth's got to go. We've got no chance at the World Cup. They weren't being very kind to Gareth. There's no creativity. It's terrible. Blah. And I honestly couldn't get my head around it. It's almost like everything Gareth has achieved with England, and you can argue there's been no success because we haven't won a trophy. Everything's relative. Success comes in different ways. For me, he's given us some incredible moments as England fans, truly incredible, memorable moments as England fans. Yet it all seems to have been wiped out of everybody's history by 3 Nations League games. I can't get my head around it. Try and explain it to me.
Well, look, again, and because I played in a different generation, I don't care what you call these Nations League games. They're dressing up these friendlies, creating this tournament, and putting it's like knocking the cement off the front of your house and putting a bit of timber up instead. Do you know what I mean? It's still essentially what it is. They are summer games without genuine, real significance.
Well,
right?
You know what I called them? Friendlies with benefits.
I like that.
Okay?
I mean, that's a good way. That's
what I've called them, and I think I've no problem with the Nations League as such. When we got to the finals in the first year of it, I was fine with it, and I get it. I kind of understand how to counterbalance some of the meaningless qualifiers and empty qualifiers that you have. You've got some meaningful games against some good opposition. I kind of get the concept. But to have 4 games in 11 days now.
Right, and the reason why, and the reason why I say that about it's a bit, not meaningless, but you will never recreate in this Nations League what you would recreate, what you're going to see in November, because it's only tournament football where that extra bit of pressure that's on it, the expectation, the demands, that drags out the very best from you. I've played in lots of summers, loads of those meaningless friendlies that you've just spoke about. Played in a lot of them, and at the end of a hard season, they're hard work. They're hard work. No one can turn around and say, I don't want to play in them. Of course you don't. Of course you want to play in them. Do you approach those games in the same frame of mind as what you will when the England players arrive in Qatar, or if it's another a tournament football in one of the summer months? No, you don't. You don't. And right now, players at the end of the seasons, particularly the best players, because they've been playing more often than not for their clubs, are knackered. They're tired, and fans don't find it difficult to understand how a footballer is tired and how a footballer gets jaded, and that they do. Then it's a debate that will rumble on, has rumbled on in the past, and will no doubt rumble on in the future. So what finds you that extra bit of something, Aid, is when you are playing in a tournament, when you become part of the main event. These aren't the main event. This is not the main event. This is not. You are not going to see the best Harry Kane now. You're hoping to see him maybe in Qatar. You're not going to get the sharpest Raheem Sterling right now. You're hoping that's going to happen in 3-4 months' time. And so I think whatever you want to call these games, however you want to shape the tournament, dress it up, call it something different, I think it's very, very difficult to ask the players and to ask those players to find their absolute very best.
Okay, so I had a couple of mates of mine message me straight after the 0-0 draw on Saturday. And the good mates were all England fans, and they said, we aren't going to do anything with Gareth in charge at the World Cup. They have to change manager now. I was surprised to receive those messages. They're from people who's I've kind of grown up watching football with over the years. I was very surprised to receive them. And then I listened to the phone in where quite a number are saying there's no way England will do anything. They've got a great group of players, really talented group of players, but he's not getting the very best out of them. Can you make any kind of case to say, yeah, England would be best off changing managers before Qatar?
No, because look, by the way, this pragmatic approach that all of a sudden people are complaining about, this is the same approach that when Gareth first came in and he's brought a group of players together, and all of a sudden we saw there was a younger, fresher look about his team. That's what everyone wanted. That's what everyone was talking about then. Want to see some of these younger players that he'd had in the 21s coming through, etc., whatever. They started to develop that. Got to a semi-finals of the World Cup in 18. Got to a Euros final, all coming up just a tiny fraction bit short. What would you, if you're in his shoes, what would you change? What are you sitting there? Because don't think you don't sit there and play every game over in their mind. All managers do. If you get that close, what are you looking for? What's the margin that might make the difference? It's not throw everything out the window what you've been doing for the last 6 years and all of a sudden saying, I'm just going to play two centre halves, my fullbacks are going to go flying forward. I'm going to play one sitter, I'm going to play 4 or 5 roaming around up. That's not what it's all about. He's got to now try and find some margins. Yes, very fine ones, Aid. Very fine ones are going to be the difference between England doing particularly well in Qatar or maybe coming up short of in the knockout phases. And so what are fans expecting to see him change? I'm intrigued to know as well because what's got England to become one of the most feared and respected nations is what he has done. It's what he's put together. So now all of a sudden it's time to throw it out the door for 3 games in this month at this time of the year at the end of a really tough, what's seeming like a really gruelling season for lots. No, I don't think so. It's still just not going to happen.
It's still raw in my mind and fresh in my mind being in Nice, watching England pass the ball around aimlessly against Iceland and losing 2-1 in that European Championships in 2016. After that, there was Sam Allardyce's one game, and then Gareth comes in. So it's not like he knew he was coming in as England manager, 6 months before. That wasn't the case. He's been thrown into a situation, and from there, less than 2 years later, we're in a World Cup semi-final, and then we're in a final of a Euros and lose on penalties, and the keeper saves 2 penalties, by the way. So I'm wondering I'm really intrigued to hear what people want. If they do want to change a manager or they do want something to change, they might not want Southgate to go, but they might want him to change. So what do you want to change? If you want to keep him or lose it, whatever it is, what exactly do you want? Because I see young players being given a chance. I see a committed group. And it's always been the case. There's been cliques with England, but now I see a committed group who are together, and that's man management. That's down to Southgate and nobody else. It's players not just from big clubs. You got Palace players, Southampton players, West Ham players, Villa players in the England squad. So it's not just the big clubs. We've always argued that that's been a problem in the past. It's not that he's got his favourites. He still gets accused of this, but he's left Trippier out of squads in the past. He left Mings out of this squad.
Yeah.
So, I think there's things being levelled at him that aren't quite true. So I'm open to be persuaded. I'm a big believer in Gareth Southgate. He should stay for the World Cup. I'm open to be persuaded if you can come up with a decent football argument saying, this is the reason why he's got to go, and this is what we replace him with, and this is the way forward.
Yeah.
If somebody can persuade us, then fine.
Well, listen, mate, I'm with you, and I just don't understand that England have got so close in the last 2 tournaments. They've been very close, improving year on year. Yes, they look a bit flat, they look a bit jaded, they look just a little bit ordinary right now. But that doesn't mean to say it's time to rip it all up and start again. That's nonsense. And that would be the craziest thing England have ever done.